Hello and welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, and tonight I am joined by a bunch of nerds. Our illustrious Dungeon Master, Megan R. Miller, will be guiding us through this adventure tonight and forward with the Those Bastard campaign. So with that, I'm just going to turn it over to you, Megan.
All right. Salutations, nerds. I am author Megan R. Miller, and I will be your dungeon master this evening. That's right, I am playing the role of God tonight. So before I turn the world on, let me offer all of you watching at home a little bit of context for the game we're about to play. Back in 2018, I was fortunate enough to meet up with 3 of my 4 players here live at Cleveland Concoction. It was a lovely time. At one point during the con, they were talking about the game they played the night before. And Dave looks at me and goes, "It's Megan's turn to run next." So I had maybe 30 minutes to prepare, and then like 5 minutes before the game starts, they all inform me that their characters are all half-brothers that are looking for their human father. Skip the scene 2 years later, we're doing a weekly staff game and getting ready to switch who's DMing, and I get a message from Ted saying we should pick this game back up. We've done 2 sessions since, and now I've been given the ridiculous task of asking a bunch of people that need no introduction to introduce themselves. So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to roll this d4. Whoever it lands on is going to kick us off. I want you to introduce yourselves, your characters, and give your previously on for what's happened in the last 2 sessions. And we're starting with Doug.
Okay, I'm Nerder Doug, and I am playing Bent, a Fire Genasi Storm Herald Barbarian who grew up on the elemental plane of fire, and he came to the material plane seeking his dad, and he met up with several of his siblings along the way who all share the same birthmark, which is a constellation from the sky that is now missing. And let's see, in the last 2 sessions, we visited an Aarakocra village called something...
Canopy,
right? And we met a guy named Alec at the Golden Feather Tavern who hired us to go get a giant lens from some ancient ruins in the jungle that would let him do some astrological research that we thought might help us find our dad. And we survived a temple run and got the lens, and that's what we're doing.
All right, Dave.
All right, and all that is true, except for we also made a friend along the way. I am playing Unga, the half-orc ranger, with his steadfast companion, Sheldon, the giant crab. I do love me some giant crabs for beast companions, who also bears the mark of that constellation that has gone missing, and that is what saved Sheldon from the stew pot. And I decided I could not eat Sheldon because it had the same mark that my character bore on his cheek. Everything that Doug said. Plus, we also met this crazy novice gnome adventurer that kind of helped us along the way, or maybe we helped them along the way. I'm not entirely sure about that, but that's kind of where we're at now.
Hello, I am Nerdarchy Ted. I'll be playing Galasin Trissel. Most people just call me Sin. There's a deep, running history with this character who was brought up by elves. And, obviously, he is a bastard just like everybody else. His tattoo or his birthmark is across his chest and down his left shoulder, left arm. I encountered Vent first, who happened to notice the mark one day while I was riding my trusty steed, which has gone missing. I am a half-elf shadow sorcerer. So lots of fun things, and I know full well that this gnome explorer is basically full of crap that we are with. So looking to see, what if anything happens with that dude. But I know for a fact that he is not one of our brethren.
And Stephen.
Hi, everybody. My name is Stephen Partridge. I am an author, and I also write for Nerdarchy. It's super awesome. And the most recent addition to this motley group is Prudence, my character. She is a tiefling with purple skin and dark purple hair that falls just below her waist. She has her birthmark on her upper shoulder, right near the base of one of her 2 bat-like wings. And she is rather confident, and some might say arrogant or prudish at times. And last time I did meet with them in Canopy, and then last time I showed up like a Deus Ex Machina at the end because I missed most of the session and used her druidic powers to punch a hole in a stone wall to help everyone get out.
Oh, and to describe my appearance, Galason is about 5'11", rather slim build, completely unshaven face, long black hair, pretty boy, stupid as can be.
All right. So, do you guys have any upkeep that you want to do between sessions? Like, do you have any shopping? Anybody you want to check in with?
Are we back in Canopy, or?
Yes. Yeah, you guys traveled back to Canopy between now and then.
Real quick, while we were still with Leary outside the temple, I would have asked him if he spoke giant.
No,
And
he
if-
does not speak. Well, hold on, let me roll. No, he does not speak giant.
Man, I want to know what that sign says. It's there's a big sign written in giant that somebody just wrote. I think Unga wrote butts at the
He
end
did.
and drew a picture of himself sticking his tongue out. So
It's true.
I was curious, but we'll never know. It'll be for the next group of adventurers to find out. That was it.
All right. So, no, he has no idea what this sign says. And it doesn't even occur to him to try and lie about it.
Okay.
So, we last left our heroes leaving the temple in the jungle, and we are now returning to the city of Canopy, an Aarakocra settlement up high in the trees of the jungle of Arathir. The structures here are a mix of classic tree houses built into and around the trees, and several that have been built into the hollowed-out trunks of the massively thick trees themselves. The streets are all wooden platforms, mostly centered around the verdant cauldron, which is the one big empty glade in this jungle with a lake at the bottom where the Aarakocra get their water. The cauldron is almost full with flashing feathers and colorful plumage and dark alike, where the bird folk fly widdershins and sort of treat it like a roundabout, landing wherever it is they need to go. Of course, periodically, you will find hanging bridges for the flightless birds and land-bound visitors. Toward the eastern end of the city is the magical school Crimson Crest Academy, where last time you met the astromancer Alec, with bright blue feathers and the crested head of a jay who sent you to the jungle temple in the first place, to retrieve the amulet that he intends to use as a lens for his telescope to get a better idea of what's going on around our missing constellation. The four of you find yourselves once again in his stellarium. Five of you. Sheldon is also there.
That's right.
Don't forget Sheldon.
Well, I certainly would have triumphantly presented the lens. It's real big, right? Because it was like a giant's jewelry.
Yeah, it's like the size of a dinner plate.
Yeah. Destiny prevails.
Oh, well, look at
Imagine
you
Vent
returning.
coming in, holding it over his head.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, of course.
Victory lap style.
Yep. We come running in, yeah. We got
Yes.
it. Death traps were avoided. Ancient curses broken. We've brought the
Broken
lens.
curses. I am very interested to hear all about that. And he's like clearly just looking at this lens and wants to get his hands on it, but he's trying to be polite at first.
Sure.
Like turning his head like you see cockatoos do when they're standing in front of the mirror.
I will describe in heroic detail how, Gallison and Unga and Sheldon valiantly defended the room from these giant funerary mask type things.
Mm-hmm.
While I made a mad dash for the lens, and the room filled up with sand, and then at the last second, Prudence flew in and enacted our escape.
Really? That is quite the tale. If you don't mind, and he's gonna reach for the amulet.
Oh yeah, absolutely, of course.
So as he's reaching for it, I'm gonna try to embellish and talk about the horror of the sand raining down above us, with the locked door that barred our path should we try and leave. Really sell the sizzle of how our lives could have easily been lost if our dear sister did not remove the door or the wall in time.
Well, that does sound like quite the adventure. You are clearly very accomplished, and this is excellent, very excellent. And he's running his fingers over the lens and checking it out, and brings it over to this brass mechanism that he's trying to slot it into, but realizes he's gonna have to take it out of the setting first. And he's doing all of this as he's talking. He's like, "That's right, I owe you payment." There is a box over yonder on the shelf. Should be the third shelf up between the dictionary and the thesaurus. He's like trying to like pull this thing out of the setting that it's in.
I march over there, and I look at the third shelf, and then I look at the books, and I look at the books again, and I'm looking to see if there's anything else. And are there other boxes, or is it just the one?
There's just one small chest there, but there are little knickknacks, like a couple potion bottles. There's a skull sitting on the end of one, and it is not an Aarakocra skull. That is very clearly a human skull he's got there. Like,
all right, so Unga takes way too long to figure out where the box was. He does not know what a dictionary, especially a thesaurus, is. And he pulls the box off of the shelf, being very careful because he's got this papoose kind of wrapped around the front of him with a very large leathery egg in it, made from his cloak. And he takes the box and he kind of whistles, and Sheldon comes over and he sets it on Sheldon's back. Hold this, buddy. And then opens it up to see what's in there.
So inside this box, there are a few spell reagents here and there, like a row of candles near the bottom, but there's also a satchel. And the satchel, if you move it at all, it like clinks, like there are definitely coins in there.
So I pull out the satchel, and Alex, is everything in this box ours?
No, just take the drawstring pouch. And I mean, unless you have some kind of use for that stuff, I don't imagine, do you? And he actually looks away from what he's doing to look over at you guys because he didn't really peg any of you for being smart.
I kind of like gesture to the box, and then I gesture to Prudence and Ted's character, because there's Gasun, because there's like things in there that I'm not sure about, but they look kind of like things that I think I've seen them use before.
So I will definitely take a look in there.
All right, so it's just, general spell reagents. It's nothing like expensive or anything, but there are definitely some candles in there. There's some like herbs and stuff, like a satchel full of cat hair,
Do I recognize the herbs?
You might. Give me a nature check.
Okay, I'm going to use these new fancy dice on D&D Beyond. Oh, that's a great way to start it out. 3 + 2, 5.
No, they just seem like generic herbs. Like, they're very dried out, though, and like you're probably more used to like the actual flush, plant material, and not like. So
I find nothing of interest in this box, at least not to me.
Sin is going to grab a couple of the weird arcane reagents to make it seem like he knows what they are. He clearly doesn't, but he'll at least attempt to. Oh, this might become useful, and he'll grab one or two things and put it into a belt pouch. Who knows?
So you guys get 200 gold pieces out of that satchel. And the satchel itself is fairly nice, like suede leather, and he doesn't seem to want that back. So.
Greatest payment will be what you can detect with that lens of yours.
Oh, I'm certainly hoping so. Unfortunately, this is not the only thing I need to make this telescope work the way I want it to.
I do believe you would let us on that this is what you needed to get the information.
Well, I do need it. I just need more than this. I have a little bit of information for you if that helps at all.
How many more things do you require?
At least one more.
At least one.
Yes.
One more step on the road of destiny, brother.
Indeed, destiny. Do you ignore destiny when it calls?
Yes,
no.
I did say at least. I am certainly interested to learn more, but do not wish to become this bird's errand boy.
Now, would I do something like that? Your good old friend Alec.
Brother.
Thou art neither good nor old, from my experience.
Dear sir, we met you, a mere scant days ago. I can't.
But it was But it was the falling red star that led us here.
He gives a little trill of a laugh.
I have no problems going on, another quest and heading towards our destiny and information leading to our father. But I do not wish to continue to plumb the depths of bizarre places, hoping that each step is going to be one more thing.
I don't know. It was kind of fun. We got to talk to that big snake. You know, the room was full of sand. It kind of reminded me of the beach and when I found Sheldon.
There was a beach like that near where I grew up, except it was so hot it just all turned to glass.
It was thou who didst talk to the snake, dear brother. The rest of us knew not what it said.
Oh, you didn't understand the snake?
No, it just sounded like you two were hissing at each other.
I felt the snake was very clear in the way it talked. It was rude, but clear. Good speaker.
Alec pauses for a moment and looks between you for just a space, and then he goes, "You said a snake."
Yeah, the Birdeater thing.
Yeah.
You spoke to the Birdeater.
Yeah.
No, we killed the Birdeater.
Well,
You killed the Birdeater.
We spoke first, then we killed it. We said, "Hey, could you stop killing everybody and eating the birds?" And it's like, "No, I'm hungry." And then I was like, "Okay, fine, get him, Sheldon." And Sheldon held him. He didn't do a great job, but he tried really hard. And then we cut its head off.
He just raises his claw at you.
Matter of fact, the head is right outside the door if you want to see it.
Oh, and we recovered some artifacts of perhaps people from here in Canopy in the snake's lair. And I'll get those out of my pack. I think it was just like a couple of rusty swords and
A suit of
a
armor.
plate. Yeah.
He's just staring at you with like open awe for a moment. And he's like, that snake has been plaguing the low road for I don't even know how long it's been. The jungle is too thick there to fly over it, and it just kept eating people. Do you have any idea what you've done?
It was but a trifle for us.
Killed a snake and made some jerky out of it.
Well,
I think
then
what
it
Alec's trying to imply is that we've done incredible heroics.
Yes, you absolutely have, and that should make it no difficult task at all for you to go to this last temple that I wish for you to fetch the rainbow feather from.
You see, Sin?
Was there a reward for clearing out that snake?
Well, yes, I mean, but you're going to have to speak to the mayor about that.
Excellent. Come on, Sheldon, we must speak to the mayor.
Well, hold on, I have to tell you about this feather.
I am intrigued.
Feather?
Rainbow
What feather? You have a bunch of feathers.
Well, yes, but I don't need one of my feathers. You see, I'm trying to make this telescope work, and it has magical components, and long story short, there's a constellation that is missing from the sky, and constellations are made of stars, and stars are made of light, and you can tell he's just, trying to be very, speaking slowly, trying to be very patient. I know I'm not speaking slowly, but that's because I speak quickly, and I can't help it.
Ben's hanging on his every word.
And stars are made of light, and this feathers
are light.
has all of the colors in the spectrum, yes? And light, yes, no. Well, I mean, yes, they are lightweight, but they're not light.
Yeah.
The colors, right? And light has all of the colors in it until it hits an object, and I need the feather as a spell reagent so that I can lock down on these stars.
Where might we find this feather?
Okay.
The jungle.
So, no. The desert to the south. There's a temple made entirely out of glass. I would like for you to go there and retrieve for me the rainbow feather.
Does anyone else feel like we're just robbing graves?
No.
No. Grave robbing happens when someone has been dead for a couple of years, not a couple of centuries. At that point, it's archaeology.
Oh, that's right. We're scientists now. I forgot.
Yes, this was explained, dear brother.
I know, but sometimes I have trouble paying attention.
Have any of you ever been to a desert?
Not I.
Oh, you're gonna love it. It's like this, but a real dry heat. It's feels very good on the muscles.
I've heard that deserts are hot and unpleasant.
Well, the former, yes. The latter, I disagree.
Yes, but you grew up where it was hot all the time and are used to it.
And we roast marshmallows off of your head.
I'm glad my traits serve our destiny further.
Oh, wait, maybe I wasn't supposed to say that. We have only done that while you were sleeping.
Oh.
I give Unga a side eye.
Well, the next time you do, could you wake me up? I like roasted marshmallows.
Excellent. So do we go see the mayor now?
If you so desire.
You have.
As I said, I do have a little bit of information for you.
Yes.
Um,
Sorry, I was just writing something down.
Oh, I've been looking into the disappearance of these stars, and I've managed to find some historical information, just some modicum of maybe truth. So I'm not sure how much of this is legend and how much of it is fact, mind you, so don't quote me on any of it. But as far as who took the sword out of the sky in the first place, they say it was the legendary thief by the name of Colden Lucifax.
Colden Lucifax. Do you think someone's going to turn it into a real sword?
Well, it was a real sword at one point.
That's right. We learned that legend. What was it? What was it used for in the story?
Oh, it belonged to a demon lord.
That's right.
So I imagine it was used to slay things.
Well, that is what swords do.
It's true.
So to be clear, player to GM, Colden Lucifax was said to have stolen the sword in myth, or said to have stolen the constellation?
Said to have stolen the sword in myth.
Wow.
Okay.
I think I dunked that up when I said it the first time, and I apologize.
And
Very
you
good.
can
Just make
quote
sure I
Alec
understand.
on that as the 100% factual truth.
No, do not quote Alec on that.
For those of you at home watching, you have to remember that the barbarian is the intelligent one in our party. So
Yeah, he's the smartest one.
What, so that's the myth. Does he have any theories on what might have happened in reality now?
Well, no, I think I would need more information. For stars don't just disappear out of the sky. Clearly somebody's taken them back. It might have been Caraxiel herself, but it's hard to say.
who is that?
That's
The Demon Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, you think the demon lord took the stars from the sky?
Well, if I were a demon lord and somebody had taken my sword, I would definitely want it back. But this is all conjecture, mind you.
No,
I
that
don't
tracks. That tracks.
Do you think the demon lord hired the thief?
Well, no, I don't think she would have hired a thief to steal from her.
Maybe they stole it back.
Stole.
Maybe.
That's what I mean. Stole it from the sky.
Well, she
Cosmic
might have hired
heist.
another thief. That is absolutely possible.
A cosmic heist job. And we're wrapped up in it, siblings.
Well,
I wonder what this has to do with Dad.
Well, isn't the constellation that's missing our birthmark?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that has something to do with them, clearly, right?
Do you think our dad is a demon lord?
He could be the thief. He's stolen quite a few hearts across the plains.
Perhaps this is a conversation best had elsewhere.
Like on
Oh,
the way
since
to
you
the
don't-
mayor's.
Yes. Alec has important scientific work.
I sincerely
Yes.
hope that we don't have to go up against the demon lord. I believe they are far outside the realm of what we're able to handle.
Agreed. Avoiding Demon Lord is hopefully not part of our destiny. Or hopefully is part of our destiny. Not facing it is the part that we don't want.
Your dragon parent.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been set to the world on your own, or is that something that you would consider an ally?
Oh, that's who taught me to be good and just and true. Who taught me the ideals of freedom. He raised me. My mom just gave me up to him at birth.
You had a mom?
It was an Afridi. I mean, she was my parent, I guess you could say, but as for mother, not really. I never really knew her. She must not have wanted anything to do with me.
Well, you have us now, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And I'll give you like a Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers bro.
I didn't
Clasp.
I didn't have a mom, but I did have Geoff. Good old Geoff. I miss him.
Yeah? Who was he?
Oh, he was the dwarf that showed me the streets and how to get around. and told me who to beat up and who to leave alone. He was really helpful.
Well, it sounds like we all had at least some good guiding forces in our lives.
My mother was far too young to be trying to raise a child, barely mature enough as an elf. My grandfather did most of the raising, and he never truly approved of me. I did not fit in with my dark hair. I ruined their family, is what he told me, which is why he gave me the nickname Sin.
Oh, maybe, are you sure? Maybe it's your creepy shadow powers. I mean,
No.
I think they're okay.
That came later, dear brother. But, things are what they are, and we all have each other now, and who knows, maybe we'll find some more siblings along the way and get to the bottom of this mystery.
We already found Prudence. Can I assume we're like talking as we're walking to the mayor?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I figured.
Yeah. Prudence, did you know anything about your own mother?
I was raised by my mother. My mother was a very cunning soul. She taught me everything I know of nature and the natural world. She taught me the love of the stars and of the fae. And she always aimed for a deal with someone. Truthfully, I do not know what she wants from all of you or from sending me to find you. But for myself and my part, I have come to enjoy your company and desire to protect you. And I will do my best to ensure that no harm comes to you from any snake or any artifact or anyone else.
Well, you sure did do a good job back there in getting us out of that sand room.
Absolutely.
What? Maybe. How old are you, Prudence?
I have been alive for 24 years.
Oh, maybe that's why you got to find us for your mom. That's a lot of back child support.
I do not think my mother needs support. She lives off the land. But for what it is worth, we do have one another. And it does not matter who has hurt us in our past or who has said we are worth nothing. For we have proven we are worth more than anyone thought already.
It's true. I'm glad we found you, Prudence.
Me too. I think you're in charge of speeches from now on.
Yeah,
Thanks.
absolutely. Very eloquent.
So as a visual, imagine we're walking our way through this town with this giant snake head on Sheldon's back.
That's right.
And occasionally the Aarakocra will rubberneck, and one of them actually flies into a post trying to get a look at what you guys are carrying. By the time you get to the mayor's office, you've got this group of this flock just kind of following and trying to pretend like they're not watching you and whispering to each other. But the guards see the snakehead being paraded up past the bridge, and they're just oh, and step out of your way immediately instead of questioning why you're here, because obviously you're here because you killed Birdeater. So the inside of this building, it's one of the ones that's been built into the trunks of the trees, and you go up this spiral staircase for a couple of floors before you come into this room. It's got these rounded bookshelves and a desk at the back of it, and there is an owl-looking Aarakocra, and she's just, making notes and glances up as you come in and starts with this very drawl. How may I? Oh, who are you? Is that
Birdeater, the plague of the low road has been laid low itself. By us.
And she gets up and walks around the desk and like leans down to get a look at the snake's head. And she's like, well, I'll be.
You'll be what?
She said owl.
Owl.
Did you tell the...
Yes.
We heard there's a reward.
Indeed, yes. And she goes back behind the desk, opens one of the drawers, like pulls out this little coffer and starts counting out coins. And she does like 5 stacks of 10 and like slides 50 gold across the desk.
Nice.
Like, there was a sizable bounty on this creature. It killed no less than 7 of my men.
7 point. Miss or Mayor, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Oh, that's because I didn't give it. I apologize. It's Liara.
Yeah. Mayor Liara, in the nest of this beast, we did recover some artifacts of what we think is your people here that we brought back to maybe give some closure. And I'll get out that stuff. I don't know if there's any signs of ownership on them, but we thought it best to bring them back here.
I will see to it that these are returned to the families that the deceased belonged to, certainly. And you have our deepest gratitude. Where was it that you were planning on going from here?
To the desert.
Yes.
We're archaeologists.
I see.
Good use of that word. It's the word of the day.
We're assisting Alec in one of his endeavors.
Ah. Well, that certainly tracks. He is definitely that sort of person. Where is he sending you precisely?
The glass castle? Glass something? Glass tomb?
The glass dome.
I'm actually not entirely sure what that is. Did he give you a map or anything? And she says this like this is not the first time he would have sent somebody somewhere without clear directions.
Oh. Joe, truth be told, Mayor, we just got to talking amongst ourselves. I don't think we ever got the details.
I was.
We were so eager to let you know about the death of Birdeater.
I mean, frankly, as soon as Alex starts talking, I usually tune right out because it's
Okay,
just blah, 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 blah.
Really, I find his diatribe fascinating and compelling.
Well, all right.
His eloquent, voluminous speech patterns.
Where he talks.
Yeah.
Well, he sounds far too much like my grandfather.
Oh, I'd like to meet your
Caring
grandfather
about
someday.
books and, jeez, so many other things I would rather be doing.
Like getting a rainbow feather?
Well, that would further what our goals and missions are. Yes,
That's right.
Okay. Well, I'm certain you could find a map in Luster. It's the city just inside the desert. It's at the base of the mountain. You can't miss it.
Our thanks.
That's a good idea.
Oh, so it's still towards the mountain?
Well, yes.
I sort of like puff up at that and like nudge them. I'm like, see, that's where that red star fell.
Yes. Well,
You're always right, brother.
same direction.
No, Destiny's right.
What time of day is it?
It's probably getting close to. Well, yeah. No, you guys came out of the temple. It was dark. Did you camp, or did you just like go straight back?
I think we just went straight back.
Oh,
Okay. Well, in that case, dawn is just starting to break. It's like very early morning.
With all due respect, I think we could do with a rest.
Oh, of course.
And a hot meal, a bath, eyeing Unga and Vent specifically.
Well, just let my sister at the Golden Feather Tavern know that it's on me tonight.
oh, that's your sister.
Yes.
Thank you. You have been most gracious.
And she, gives a little bow. It's not quite as theatrical as the one Alec did, but it doesn't seem nearly as extra.
So I guess we'll head over to the Golden Feather.
Yeah.
Bid thee a fond farewell.
So, like, you've got people that are just, like, getting up and, like, leaving to go about their day, and things just seem to be slowing down from the breakfast rush at this point, and, like, the owl that was behind the bar before is, like, cleaning things up and kind of a rush.
Did the onlookers disperse when we, come back outside?
I mean, yeah, they just kind of, like, they were gone by the time you got out there, but the lingering feathers of them having followed you here are, like, kind of sticking to the wooden plats and stuff.
This is a fine feathered situation we find ourselves in.
Imagine if somebody wanted to do something with a feather design. You have your pick and your fill in this place. They're strewn about everywhere.
Gives me an idea for maybe some glasswork.
Glasswork?
Yeah.
How are you going to make feathers in glass?
You can make any shape out of glass.
Oh, you're not going to use the feathers in the glass.
No. But maybe the colors and inspiration might make a fine piece.
Very true.
I guess so. I think I'm just going to go get a drink. What about you, Sheldon?
Sheldon, like, blows some bubbles.
Hope they're still serving breakfast. It's like the rush is over. Unless they have all-day breakfast, then that would be incredible. That'd be the best thing ever.
They do, in fact, have all-day breakfast. That's my first nat 20 of the night.
Hey!
Woohoo!
Yeah, great for Canopy. 5-star.
Better on that than an attack roll.
But you guys guess.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
So I will go to we'll go to the inn. I want to order food and a round of ales.
All right. So the owl, like, she brings out the ales and she's like, okay, I am probably going to go turn in here pretty soon because I'm the night shift. I have a friend that will be taking care of you for the rest of the morning if you so desire. If there's anything you need, if there's an emergency, just holler. And she gives you a nod and heads off and, like, has her place taken by a dark feathered, presumably a female bird with, like, just like a bandolier of little vials kind of slung over one shoulder. Just kind of starts, cleaning up the glasses and stuff. It's like the changing of the watch.
So we were told by the mayor that our meal and rooms be taken care of, for we are the ones who slain Birdeater.
Normally, I'd ask you for some proof about that, but given that's all anybody's been talking about all morning, I believe you.
Canopy just has a real rustic hospitality. Really
'Twas not easy to miss you parading the head overhead throughout the town, dear brother.
It was not Vent, but it was Sheldon. Unless you were all of a sudden gifted with speaking to the crab, like Unga.
That's okay. Sheldon understands, and I slap him on his shell. Try not to spill his beer as I do his ale.
Is he drinking ale?
Yes, I absolutely have trained my crab to drink ale.
All right.
He's like got his little claw closed around the mug like you would, like, when you give a crab a knife.
Yeah, which we did.
Which we did on the first adventure. So, like, 5 minutes after the owl leaves, I burst out laughing. And it takes me a while to get under control. And I'm like, the owl brought us ale! And I'm telling Sheldon about it. And then I will include the rest of you in on the joke.
You get a feeling he's sighing at you.
Did Sheldon come up with that one? You're so witty, Sheldon.
Bubbles.
Bubbles. It's always bubbles.
Your mirth has made this journey much more enjoyable.
So you think we need anything for going to the desert? Oh, you know all about the desert.
Yeah, I suppose I would. I mean, you probably need some kind of, like, coverings and stuff. And I know it probably seems counterintuitive, but, like, maybe like white linen, robes to mitigate the heat, water, food. I don't know if we could get a mounts. Walking in sand could be pretty tiresome. It's hot.
Sleep would be nice.
It's cold at night, So maybe tents. But fate has provided for us. We have 250 gold and these 2 sapphires. We could easily equip a desert adventure. We could probably glamp style it.
Oh,
with that kind of money.
We should find out how many of those sapphires are worth and sell those.
Mm-hmm. I bet you we could turn these sapphires and all our gold into a luxurious amount of gear for this desert adventure.
So when the ladybird comes back, we'll ask about a jeweler.
Well, there's a magpie that is just down the road from here.
Of course there is.
Would Star Brother Glason need these for his spells, perhaps?
Oh, is that something that's involved with your magic?
I have no magics that have such costly components as of yet.
Oh.
Typically, when I use magic, and he pulls out the dark wooden rod that he tends to use.
That's right.
This is all I tend to do, to steal from shadows and take their power.
If I get a stick, can I do that too?
Well, I do not believe it was my mother that granted me these powers, so it's possible.
Wow. We have an amazing array of abilities that we presume came from our shared father.
Well, I mean, it could have been something else, but my grandfather constantly referred to anything odd that I did as it was his fault. So,
well, if you don't need these, then obviously we can put both of these, all of our gold, towards funding this expedition, and then we'll probably make enough to fund the next one.
Indeed.
well, I hope it's more than just funding the next one. That seems...
Yeah, out of character, I'm not trying to take all the gold. I'm just hamming it up.
It's all good.
I just didn't want you guys to think pussy. I don't want to spend all the money like that.
It's all RP, man.
Sure,
We're gonna get the biggest, best tent
I'm just trying to make it clear in case everybody's like, "Wait, this guy's a dick."
Well, we know you're not.
All right, just making sure.
I hope that, the adventures are more than just affording the next one. It seems rather droll.
Maybe, but it sure beats stealing food on the streets.
Did you have to do that?
Only for most of my life.
Well, then we'll make sure to set aside some money so we can always eat gourmet meals as well.
After Sheldon got really big, it did get easier because he was able to fish for us.
Yeah, I bet you he could be quite the provider.
Speaking of, what does Sheldon need for the desert, Unga?
Oh boy, that's a good question.
I don't know. He does like the sand, but I don't think the heat is going to be great for him.
I know for myself I'll need accommodation, and I just sort of flare my wings a little bit. And so will you. And I nod to Vent.
Me?
Well, you certainly don't want anything on your head.
Oh, right. Oh, this heat is nothing. I'll be fine. I don't need anything.
I think he likes it.
I do. This humidity is a little much, but the heat part of it.
Are you already dressed for the desert then?
Yeah. My body's a raging inferno, Prudence.
I see. Well, I shall venture out after a good rest and try to procure us some clothing and such that might be a bit more hospitable to an arid climate.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. So do we want to rest and then go see the magpie, or do we want to see the magpie and then rest?
Picturing this is after you party all night and then you're at the diner, so I probably want to just rest because we were up all night. We fought for our lives.
Yeah.
And almost died and stuff.
Negotiating while tired does not make for making good deals.
That's true. Then let us rest.
All right,
so we'll rest and then hit the magpie.
All right. So you guys, you get a good sleep. You get like really good rooms at the end because you killed Birdeater. You're somewhat of local celebrities at this point. Everybody's talking about you.
Right.
So like the beds are really nice too. They're all like feather stuffed because you know what do Aarakocra have in abundance other than feathers. So you get your sleep in. It's probably a little afternoon by the time you wake up, and you know things are getting started. There are a few people, you know, in the tavern again.
Well, it's not even like we wasted the whole day.
Make sure you guys are clicking that long rest button.
Oh yeah. Get my beefy HP.
All right, so magpie. Is the magpie there?
So there is a little sign out front that has like a blackbird, like not a literal blackbird perched on the sign, but like it's engraved into the sign, and it says Molly's, and it's spelled Mahli.
Okay, you have extensive city adventuring knowledge. You should do the talking with this merchant purveyor of jewels.
Sure. I burst through the door and look around.
So you literally burst through the door, like that's what's happening. Yeah. All right, so Molly, presumably Molly, it's the magpie behind the counter, like whips her head around and is like paused for a moment, and like you can tell, like you see it work through her face. Like, give me an insight check.
Let's see. I'm not as terrible as I could be at that. That's a 5.
Okay, so you think that she's just surprised that somebody came in so boisterously, but she's got her hands up and she's like, "Can I help you?"
Yes! We heard we should come see you to sell our gems to.
Oh, okay, yes, please, come in.
And, hey, brother, bring out the sapphires.
All right, I'll carefully get them out, like as if they're very precious, and like put the the little velvet pouch on there and sprinkle them out. I think it was just 2 uncut, maybe. I think they were uncut sapphires.
Yeah. She draws a little loop out of her breast pocket and like leans down because she's got a little vest on with like there's no back to it. It's like a halter vest, and she just kind of leans down and starts looking at them, and she's very interesting, very interesting. It's good color.
They come from giantess ruins deep in the desert.
Just like picking them up and looking them over. Deep in the jungle. That is an interesting story. Unfortunately, interesting stories don't sell very well. I can probably do you 10 gold each.
I'm gonna look to
give me insight.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can I insight as well?
Absolutely, yes.
I'm not. I just naive.
19 on the die for a 22.
Woo!
She isn't trying to scam you, but she does expect you to haggle.
I got a 5 again.
Totally legit.
Lady, we retrieved these from deep in the jungle, and you did say that they are of good color, and while they might not be the best in shape, I imagine their value would skyrocket if cut properly.
And I am very capable of cutting properly, but that does take funds, you understand.
Tell him about Birdeater. Tell her about Birdeater.
We are the ones that slew the giant menace, Birdeater.
And she kind of crosses her arms at the wrists on the table and like surveys you for a moment. She's like, "Did you know?"
Oh, those sapphires were from there.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I messed that up. Yeah, I thought they were from the temple. My bad.
So I, do a quick, mumble across my breath, and I'll use prestidigitation to make, my eyes go all shadowy dark.
Are you trying to intimidate me, sir?
No, I'm just showing you that I am just more than a pretty face.
you doubt that we are the ones that took down the snake.
Oh, I don't doubt. I've heard people talking all day about you lot.
Then why
But
did you say, did you now?
listen, I am a businesswoman first and foremost. I do have to look out for my own well-being as well as the well-being of those under my roof.
Fine. 30 gold for the pair. We'll take it.
30 gold for the pair. Then she'll, draw out 30 gold, slide them across the table. She's like, if you happen to find any more gems and are in the area again, I certainly wouldn't be disappointed to see you come through that door again.
So is there anything interesting, on the walls or in the shop?
I mean, yeah, it's a jewelry store. She's actually not bad at it, they're inlaid in, necklaces and things. There are a couple rings, in the glass case on the counter, some bracelets with, various carved charms. Some of them don't have gemstones in them at all. Some of them are just carved silver.
Is there, by chance, anything that resembles the constellation?
Well, let's roll happenstance. No, not in here.
I will consider your words. If you happen to come across anything, and he'll, move his, shirt to show the symbol, and point towards Unga's face. If you come across anything that bears a similarity to this, set it aside for us, please.
I will. And you can, kind of see the inspiration striking somewhere behind those, big bird-like eyes. The next time you come through here, I'll have something for you.
Siblings, we're up to 280 gold.
Woot. Might you know of a good clothier in the area? I ask Molly.
And she will definitely send you off in the direction of one. There's a heron that's down toward lake level that does very good work. Mind you, most of the people here don't wear that much because they need to keep their wings free, and birds don't really have that much that needs to be covered up anyway. But he is a fairly excellent clothier, and he's a bit expensive because, again, the clothing is a luxury to most Aarakocra, but you can certainly find him.
Okay.
Yeah, we could always, if Luster, I believe the name was, is on the edge of the desert, perhaps we could outfit there.
I would prefer to find something here, as I think that they would be more accommodating
because you get
my persuasion. You're welcome to get elsewhere.
Good point.
Yeah, but I don't know if these Aarakocra bird people are going to know about the desert the way the desert people are going to know about the desert. Totally oblivious to your wings.
We are by our dear brother Vince's knowledge. He has given us what we need. We just need to acquire said things.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting some flowy white linen robes for this desert excursion.
Galason is certainly not happy to be wanting to put on white robes.
So if Prudence wants to grab what she needs, we'll do that, and then we can head out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I also want to pick up another water skin if I can.
All right, so you guys can easily obtain all of these things, what the water skins prices and things. The clothing is going to be a little bit more expensive than it would ordinarily be because, again, it's a luxury item and canopy. Galason, I want you to give me an insight check, while you're on the bridge walking away from this jeweler's shop.
Oh, that is a nat 20.
Okay, so it hits you when you're halfway to this clothier that you were totally being hit on by that jeweler back there. That's why she was asking all those stupid questions.
Okay.
So
I will keep that in mind.
Yes, clothier. You can probably find, something fairly simple, or if you want to bust for like the actual luxury, like silks and things, it'll be a little more. But what exactly is it that you're looking for?
I'm probably hoping to find something roughly like what Vent described, but similar to what I kind of already wear. Not anything too long in excess fabric, because wings and flying getting tangled up doesn't sound like a good idea. But something to definitely accommodate the wings.
Prudence is like dresses nicely and stuff, right?
She's what?
She like dresses nicely and stuff, right?
Yeah, she dresses simply. She wears like a modest dress that has like the shoulders and upper back open for her wings, and then leggings underneath and boots.
Okay. Vent would advise them towards getting like the most like luxury expensive things if we were there, like, because they're like, oh, he knows everything, so I'm like, yeah, you'd need this one because we got the money. So I want my siblings to have a good time. I want them to really have a good desert experience and enjoy that heat. So
in all kindness, dear brother, I find myself tending away from the flashy. My personality is not quite so forward as your own.
Oh yeah, I knew that. That's what I meant. Like, just like, even if it was just like plain stuff, it'd be like the nicer stuff, because it's probably like, like the material's probably better vented for the heat and stuff. That's why stuff costs a lot, man.
Layson is the one who wears the nice clothing, the riding boots and.
Him, I might steer towards getting more modest things, just because it would be like a good lesson for you.
Yeah.
You're like, no, you need the homespun wool one. That's the best one.
Ted totally understands. Sin fully trusts you. Like, what? Yeah, sure. You might not be happy, but this is what you say I need to have. Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, not anything that would cause him harm and stuff.
Unga's holding up a potato sack. What do you think?
Nailed it, brother.
All right, so this is where I realized that this isn't World of Warcraft and the economy and Dungeons and Dragons.
Sure.
Way cheaper things than I thought it was. But if you want to get really nice clothes that are going to keep you cool in the desert, you can get a nice full set for about 30 gold here. But if you're just wanting something simple, then we're talking about 5.
Okay, so 5 for Galeason. And 30 for Prudence. And I'm going to get him the nicest burlap sack, because he had a really rough.
Unga's going to wait. Unga's going to wait until he gets to the other city.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
He's convinced that birds aren't going to know jungle birds aren't going to know anything about desert birds.
And I'm going to trust my brother's insight into the natural world, so I will also wait. And then I'll just...
They don't need to worry about it, because, you're
resistant to heat. Yeah. And then, I guess I'll just wait till we get to the other place for the rest of the stuff. So, yeah. We're still really good on money, y'all.
So, this is what people wear?
Mm-hmm. It's functional. It's utilitarian. It's got this, it'll show them, it's got that inside pocket, so you can keep your black wand in there. You're just out of sight.
Can't see what people look like. It, covers their he just kind of smooths down his hair. Your
hair, yes.
Vanity.
That'll keep it from getting frizzy in the desert heat.
And
I don't know what kind of product you use. Yeah, you don't want sand; it gets everywhere. You'll hate it.
That's the second time that reference was made today.
And water skins are like 2 silver, so yeah, that's no problem.
So I imagine if we probably grab a couple extra of those.
I think Uga's wisest there that the outpost luster.
Yes. Yeah. Besides, we can travel lighter until we get there.
Right.
All right. So, are you guys planning on heading out this evening, or are you going to stay the night in Canopy again before you go?
We should just set up.
Wait.
Yeah.
All right. So, you guys, you go through the jungle. There, it's not really much trouble until you get to the edge of it. And like when you get to the edge of the jungle, there's like some crisp plants and things, that are just kind of like baking in the sun before it just straight. Like there's almost like a line that you can see where it stops being jungle and starts being arid desert sand. And I need somebody everybody give me a nature check if you want to.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I went to
Nothing
roll
like
the dice.
rolling dice with a negative.
Ooh, 17.
13.
I rolled a 4, so I have 3.
11.
Okay, so Vent, you know that ordinarily this does not happen. You don't see desert right up against jungle. There's almost always like some scrublands in between or like a mountain or something. You get the very strong vibe like something magical happened to put this desert here, and like not entirely sure what it was, mind you, but there's like this should not have happened where it is.
Brothers and sisters, do you see how the desert yearns to share its joy with the rest of the land? This is clearly something woven in the stars that it's here. See how, and I'll like get down on the ground and like sort of like point down, like, do you see how there's that razor thin line where the desert starts?
I do indeed. This is quite unnatural.
Yes, but it's supernatural that we're here.
It is. And she can't help but smile.
You can see the mountains in the distance on the other side of this desert, and then somewhere, like just within eye range, you can see like this glimmer on the horizon. It's very bright there, almost like a city, except brighter than a city should be.
I think I see why the city's called Luster. Don't you see that shining yonder?
Well,
it's just a brisk walk through this 120-degree heat over a few dunes.
Well, at this point, it's approaching evening, and it's starting to get a little cooler, so there's that.
What does the brightness have to do with the name?
Well, you see, luster is the refraction of light through a crystalline, with the structures and the, So that's why it's called luster. Like on the way, metal might have a luster in the light.
Vince, if you would like to give me a history check. I'm going to say what you were going to say first, though. Sorry.
Sure.
It's like when the shoe shine boys would shine the fancy shoes, they would get a luster.
Yes, exactly.
Make them shine.
So
I remember them saying that.
That is a 7.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
You don't know.
My personality trait is I misuse words in an attempt to sound smart.
That's hilarious, and I love it.
And I like showcasing it.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
So
it's even shining like in the dim light now, dusk, huh?
Do we want to make camp in the sand or in the jungle?
Well, in the sand, we can expect perhaps giant scorpions, maybe sandworms that layer beneath the sand. We could fall into quicksand. We could fall into an underground complex. Jungle could have snakes, dinosaurs, which I believe is what a thesaurus is about. It's a book about dinosaurs. So we might have wanted to look at that back at Alex's. But could have, poisonous things. I don't know. We could sleep under the stars in this wonderful arid right here, and I'll like step on that side of the desert, or we could sleep in the humid, wet canopy here.
Sheldon sideways crab walks to the desert part and then just drops himself down and does that shimmy thing and begins burying himself in the sand.
Oh my god, I love it.
He's planted his flag.
Unga, dear brother, what is your plans with the egg?
Oh, that's right.
I don't know. I'm going to see what happens. What do you think's going to come out of it?
Well, we found it in the lair of a snake. I imagine it's going to be a snake.
Yeah, but it looks too small.
Hast thou thought of a name?
How can you name something that's not out yet?
You got to see what it looks like.
Well, Snake Eater was an albino snake, right? Birdeater. Yeah.
We'll see when it comes out. Then I'll decide. I don't know. We'll see. It may never hatch. You don't want to name it if it's not gonna, if it doesn't hatch. That would be.
It might be a giant omelet waiting to happen for all we know.
Oh, with this desert, maybe.
Yeah. Soft boiled.
That was something I had considered.
That's right. That's right. I think we talked about that, didn't we?
I think so.
Yeah.
Did Unga ask Sheldon if they were going
that's
to hatch it or eat it?
Oh, Sheldon.
Was hotly debated.
I will take a cue thinking Sheldon is also an expert on desert navigation and start like burying myself and
Oh
like
my
sort of
God.
trying to mimic him.
The sand is still very hot, but that doesn't bother you a bit.
Nah. Feels good.
I'm gonna put my feet up on the lump that is Sheldon and kind of kick back.
Okay. So are you guys camping out here for the night?
I suppose.
All right. So who's got first watch?
I will.
Okay. How many is
Okay.
there 2 watches throughout the night or 3?
It's up to you.
What do you think we should
There's
do?
4 of you, so if you do 2 watches, then you can like have one-on-one conversations. But it's
Yeah. Okay.
I will greet the late in the morning. So I will take last watch if you don't have a problem.
I'll watch with Prudence while I'm like buried up and Sheldon and Unga have their feet kicked up.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I would like for you guys to give me perception checks.
You want to do it with advantage and I'll just like help you?
Sure. So I will roll that twice.
If that's okay.
Sin
I
will-
love this dice app.
Sin will
Oh,
the extra robe and kind of like lay on top of that.
Yeah.
Just kind of lay out underneath whatever stars are there and get out.
so I got an 18
Ooh.
for perception.
Okay. You see something glinting in the sand in the distance.
In an enticing way or in a foreboding way?
I suppose that's
Is
up
that
to
the
you.
difference?
Okay. I will probably just sort of like, elbow vent a little bit and point. What do you suppose that is?
I don't know. Does it look like it's far off?
Yes, at one point, and then a little bit later it seems a little closer, and then it seems a little farther away again. Whatever it is, it's moving.
I guess. Let's see. Well, we should probably rouse them. I don't want to just sneak off. What do you think? Should we let the others know?
I think it would be wise.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll shake them awake and be like, hey, there's a weird light out. And it's like bouncing around.
Sure, it's not just like a star or something.
Well, if it's a star down by the earth, that's even more incredible. Should we try to catch it? What would we put a star in?
So do you point it out to us?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So try and look and see what he's talking about. What do we see?
All right, so it's like glinting in the sand in the desert, like the sand shifts a little bit, and sometimes you see more of it than you do otherwise. But it's almost like there's glass surfacing from like beneath the kernels of sand out there.
It's a glass worm.
So I come from more of a coastal region, and that's like my thing. Does it remind me of like maybe porpoises or sharks like cresting the water?
Yeah, almost.
Siblings?
What is it?
Yes.
Maybe we might want to take to the trees.
Oh,
Is it
I think-
approaching? Or is
it's
it
sort of like getting close. It's sort of just out nearby, like coming back and forth.
So yeah, it does. It's moving out and then closer again, but there's a limit to how close it gets to where you are now. If you want to give me another nature check or an arcana check, actually, either one would work.
Okay.
I think it's brother, sister. I think it's probing.
I got
Yeah,
no
we should
clue. It's a
probably.
five.
Sheldon, unbury yourself.
So what was that?
I got a 6.
I got no clue. It's a 5.
Okay,
Great.
yeah, I know. As far as you know, it probably is probing.
I'm half half listening. They woke me up to look at something glistening in the sand over there. I'd rather be asleep. Get to the trees, fine.
As we're running towards trees, I'm like, I saw you're already using that robe as a pillow. Versatile, right? And I guess that's a good idea that Unga had run for just scramble up a tree in the jungle nearby.
All right,
Sheldon
easy enough to.
Can Sheldon get up there?
I'm going to put him on my back.
Oh, is he? Oh,
Good plan.
okay.
Now, what was that, Prudence?
Shall I scout it overhead?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Just
Fly.
don't go too close because I've seen sharks jump out of the water and eat birds.
I think it's a sand shark.
Noted. And I'll take to the air, just flutter and fly away, probably staying about 40-ish feet off the ground, and just kind of circle, like I've seen birds do and stuff.
So this thing that keeps on breaching the surface of the sand, it's domed. It almost reminds you of a turtle shell, except it definitely looks like glass to you. The starlight reflects off of it very nicely.
Okay. And he sent us to find the glass dome, didn't he?
Well, he sent you to find a glass temple, yes.
Okay, so
Somebody
this
else
is not
said
quite the
dome,
same
though,
thing.
didn't they? Didn't somebody say dome?
I think I did.
Oh, was it?
Because
Like
I
early?
thought that's what I thought he was referencing was the dome temple
Is it
thing.
a moving?
Okay, I'm sitting here thinking I might have, because the rooftops in Luster are kind of domed, and I don't know if Alex said that or not, but I don't think I described that to you yet. So.
Okay.
We could always go back and watch it afterwards.
But it
Oh,
definitely
yeah,
has
Fair
a limit.
enough.
I was like, what? Took me a second.
But it definitely has a limit as to how far it's going.
Yeah, it definitely stops before it gets too close to the jungle.
Okay, so I'll just fly back and relay that to my brothers.
Okay. A domed thing bobbing up and down from the... You seem to have an idea what it was, Unga. What do you think?
Oh, I don't know. I've just seen, different fish and sharks come out of the water like that.
That was very good intuition.
So all I'm hearing is you woke me up and make me climb a tree for nothing.
Well, you see that thing?
I saw a glint moving in the distance, and his eyelids are only half open, trying to have this conversation.
Well, you won't feel that way if you get eaten by a sand shark.
I won't feel anything if I get eaten by a sand shark.
That's not true. If they're like regular sharks, you feel a lot, and then you get eaten.
Well, yeah, but afterwards it'll all be over, so it doesn't matter what I felt.
You might
Consider this an exercise in preparedness, dear brother.
Fine.
So you said it looked like a turtle shell?
Yes.
Ha! Well, that doesn't sound quite as scary as a sand shark. Turtle shark, maybe not that big a deal.
You're pretty good with animals. Maybe you could have a rapport. You could establish a rapport.
I could try that.
Or we could
Sheldon.
leave the wildlife alone and rest.
That's also a good option.
So are we remaining in the trees? Are we going back to sleep? What is the plan here?
The trees would be much better if we maybe had some hammocks.
Let me see.
I didn't buy any hammocks.
But you said it was stopping. It wasn't coming into the jungle. Maybe we should just stay a little deeper in the jungle.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Maybe it can't burrow through the jungle ground. It's not sand.
Gallison needs a Snickers ration if he doesn't get his sleep.
Sorry, Sheldon, buddy. I knew you were looking forward to sleeping in the sand, but I don't think we're going to do that tonight.
Perhaps tomorrow night.
All right, well, hey, what do you know? Me and Prudence's watch is over. Sorry for waking you.
Me and Sheldon will take the next watch.
Okay.
All right. So at this point, things are fairly uneventful. You do see that thing crest in the sand a couple more times, but it never breaches completely. You know, it just looks like something glass moving around down there. And dawn comes, and that city out there on the horizon is still incredibly bright, even as the sun comes up. Like it glowed all throughout the night, and then the sun came up, and it seemed to glow even more.
It's so alluring. It's really beckoning.
This is going to be fantastic. Let us hasten there, so we can
All
get
right.
the silly feather and be done with it, and we can find Dad.
At least, we won't get off course for a target so easily spotted.
Great point. Yeah,
Well-
and Gillian got to sleep in. He didn't even have to take a shit. So boom.
That was quite enriching. Appreciate
So-
it.
Brothers do.
How are you going about crossing this desert? Just hoofing it, or?
I'm probably going to fly as much as possible.
Okay.
Just because walking in sand, from personal experience, is not super easy.
Not.
And with Prudence having grown up her entire life in a forest, the sand is not enjoyable for her.
If there's things brewing, should we maybe have not hold a rope together or something, or maybe just have some kind of think in case somebody falls into a pit or something.
Could be wise.
I guess we can do a rope line.
Yeah, I think just to be on the safe, even if we just held it, or we don't have to tie it off the tightest thing, something.
So
Just in case one of
we'll do that. We'll get a 50-foot of rope and just stretch it out amongst us.
yeah.
So you guys stretch this rope out amongst yourselves. You're walking through this desert, and when you get about halfway there, when you get your first glimpse of the gleaming city-state of Luster, you can see in the noon light that the sun is glinting off of these glass-domed rooftops. Even from here, you can kind of see some of the braziers, massive braziers burning, on the outside of the city. Every building catching and refracting it and bouncing the light between themselves. But just as you are starting to recognize the shape of the city for what it is, the sand starts to part before you, and you see that glinting glass rising out of it. And the next thing you know, there's this chitinous, glass armored leg popping out, and it's this giant beetle coming out of the sand. And I need everyone to roll initiative.
All right.
Of course, here we go.
Sister, that is more like a beetle and not a turtle.
Indeed.
Or a shark.
22. I rolled a 20.
8.
30-20.
15.
Action.
Okay. So we are starting off with Unga and Sheldon.
All right.
All right. So it is a glass beetle, essentially.
Yes.
How big is it?
So this thing is about the size of an elephant.
Oh, that's a lot of
Oh
beetle.
my!
Yeah, it's a very large beetle.
Okay.
Well, in that case, I will pull out my great axe and set to work.
Go ham.
Flank him. Oh man, not likely. Flank him, Sheldon. That is a 9. And I will use my bonus action to cast Hunter's Mark on it.
Okay. Galeason.
So not really sure, exactly what this is. I'm going to cast Chill Touch. It is going to be a 24.
That hits.
So he pull out a D8. So that's going to be a whopping 2 necrotic.
Okay.
I can't regain hit points until next round. Like that matters.
Hold on, my calculator is being stupid. Okay. Prudence.
I'm going to untie myself from everyone else. I presume that's my action.
Oh, I kind of figured you were just flying around.
Oh, I mean, I was flying, but
yeah.
I wasn't.
We said we were just holding the rope.
Yeah, you said you were just holding the
Yeah,
rope.
yeah. It was just like in
okay.
case the people on the ground got like pulled away. It was my.
Okay. In that case, I scoop up a handful of sand and take to the air and just scatter it. And when I do, the grains glisten like glass and glow, and it needs to make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
Hmm.
Oh, that's a nat 1. What happens?
Fire.
Oh, it's fairy fire. Okay.
Everyone has advantage to hit it now.
So, and just so you know, when the fairy fire wraps around this thing, it does like glimmer very prettily. There's a luster to this beetle as well.
Mm-hmm.
What color?
That's a luster. See?
What color is your fairy fire?
It's blue and purple primarily,
Nice.
with some pink in it.
Vince.
I will get out tail and take inspiration from my brass dragon guardian and use my maul that I call tail because I want to smash this glass, and I will also ignite the raging fire inside and rage. So I'm going to. That is a 13 to hit.
That does not hit.
All right, and that's it.
Was that with
Okay.
it?
Oh, wait. It does take 2 points of fire damage from my storm aura, though. When I rage.
Okay.
If it is
Gotcha.
vulnerable to such things.
Did you roll with advantage? Ted was asking.
Yeah, I did. I got really low. Both of them.
All right. So, the beetle kind of moves back a little bit, and you can hear its mandibles clicking together, and the sand around it starts to shiver a little bit on either side, and it lunges forward and tries to snap at Unga with those mandibles. I'm sure a 10 doesn't hit you.
It does not.
All right, you're up.
All right, I get the haft of my axe up and between its mandibles to block it. All right, that is going to be a 14 or a... Well, I'm going to take the 14 and not the natural one. Does a 14 hit?
Reasonable. Yes, the 14 hits.
Oh, we're range finding for sure.
13, 14 is the number. Nothing
Yeah.
matters,
So
but
that is going to be a 12 plus my hunter's mark. Ooh, so it's going to be 18 points of damage.
Okay. And so you hit this thing, and it starts getting a couple of splinters along that glass shell that it has. Gleason.
it's a glass blower.
How big did you say this thing was?
It's the size of an elephant.
All right. Well, that's not exactly thrilling. So when Layson, casts his magic, he tends to take from the shadows that are around him. So if this thing is that big, has it fully emerged out of the sand?
It's very close to it. It's most of its legs are free.
All right, so he's gonna pull out, and the shadow kind of moves across the desert sands into his hands, and it begins to change from this dark energy into just this ball of fire, and he blasts 3 rays at this thing.
Nice.
That is a 23, a 16, and a 24.
Those all hit.
Hey, brother, have you been giving him lessons in glass blowing?
I was thinking that. I was like, I probably would be like, oh, this thing's really cool looking.
That is.
Look at the intricate work
and
and
fire damage.
How many?
Ooh!
27.
27.
Oh.
Okay, so You slam into this thing with these spell bolts, and like you hit, and then it like splinters on one side, and then the other one hits the other side, and it splinters again, and the third one goes right up the center, and this thing just like cracks and like shatters into glass dust all over the sand in front of you.
It probably looks really cool. It's all like fairy fired up.
Yeah, like a firework.
Wow, that was a lot scarier than it looked a lot scarier than it was.
Whatever it was that was moving beneath the sand kind of settles.
Oh, I should definitely go examine this thing.
Sheldon sheathes his short sword.
I'm going to scoop up a little bit of like a chunk of glass. That's not dangerous for Gallison, because I know he likes to collect.
Yeah.
So
although he probably would.
Yeah, is this thing like, is it entirely glass? Is it more of a
Yeah, all the way through.
Oh, for a second I was picturing like the organs inside, like still.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be cool.
As if it was alive.
It did. It absolutely did. It moved like it was alive. It seemed to be hunting like it was alive, but it was glass from the outside in all the way.
Do we have any idea what it was?
I mean, if you want to go ahead and give me an Arcana check, possibly.
Okay, I'm not great at those, so sure. Oh, okay, I got a 19.
Okay. So to your best guess, it is some kind of construct, and probably made as a guardian of sorts, but it definitely wasn't acting like a guardian.
So does it look like it is just made of animated glass?
Yeah.
Can I try and look around and see if I can see any signs of its passage, like where it came from?
Yeah. How are you doing this?
I want to see, like, if I can see where, like, the sand has kind of been disturbed, maybe where it's breached or it's moved.
Could we pull it out to see if there was a tunnel left behind, or whether it burrowed and filled behind it?
Well, the problem with that is that this is all sand. So when it moved out of the sand just kind of like collapsed back in, and it didn't really leave much of a path behind it.
Yeah, I'm looking for almost like swirls in the sand that maybe were made from its passing.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me survival, I guess.
That's a 19.
Okay, yeah, you can. Absolutely. You can see like on the surface about where it was tunneling from. And it seems to have come from the city.
Oh. It
Should we
seems
just-
as though we may be unwanted.
Maybe they'll have answers in the city. Or maybe they don't want us in the city.
Well, you know how we'll find out?
Go into the
Destiny?
city.
In that city. Yep. Yes, exactly.
So I
Give
picked
me
up
prudence.
a shard of, something fist size or smaller from the creature.
Okay, easily found. And it is like very much like clear glass, but it's got a little green tint to it, like bottle glass.
Okay. That's kind of exactly what I pictured how you described it. So
Interesting.
Okay.
I am glad none of us got bit by that thing. Look at the size of those mandibles.
Yes. Sheldon was very brave, and I just pat Sheldon.
Gosh, it rolled so poorly.
It's okay, we've been doing that all night.
Yeah, happens. All right, so you continue on through the desert, and you arrive at the edge of the city of Luster. And there are very much braziers like on every street corner here, and they, bounce off of the glass of the buildings, and there are like puddles of colored light everywhere you look. There are elementals just openly walking the streets here.
I'm like completely captivated as we get close to all this glass and elemental things.
are they all fire or a variety of elementals?
There are a variety of elementals, though most of them are fire and air. And there are more earth elementals than there are water elementals, but you definitely see a couple of water elementals here as well.
Okay. Is this like the place you grew up, Vent?
Yeah, except for the water and fire, or water and earth ones, very much like it. This is quite beautiful. The blowpipe to make such a thing. I mean, these must have been giants.
Bent, can you give me an Arcana check?
Sure. I get a +1 to that. Hey, look at that. Dirty 20.
Okay, so you can feel it. Like, you're not sure exactly why, but this place feels like the elemental plane of fire somehow. Like, not entirely, but it's like it's tinged with it.
Oh, okay. I think we may be nearby to a place where the veil between my homeland and here is thin. We may actually be in the elemental plane of fire a little bit.
Do you think?
And I'll sort of like take my cloak and like, even though I'm totally conspicuous with my flaming hair, like just kind of wrap it over my face, just in case anybody I like went to high school with is here. I don't want to run it. I went to Emmix Junior High.
Are you sure? Why would water elementals be on the plane of fire? That'd be weird, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe the steam plane, but that's about as far as they'd get. They'd just get vaporized.
Yeah. So when we were traveling through the desert to get here, every once in a while I would take a water skin and like douse the egg.
Reasonable. Okay, noted.
Let's find lodgings.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm like kind of just on guard though. I just don't want to, in case there's somebody looking.
So are the streets, is it sand or is there actual like pave and rock?
Okay, so the streets are definitely paved, but they're like a mosaic of like different glass tiles that have just been kind of like molded down there, and there are a couple of them that are cracked and splintered, especially where near the earth elementals hang out, but for the most part they are very well taken care of, and like the light reflects off of them as well and back onto the buildings, and it's like you're walking through a prison.
Does any of the glass work I see look like familiar craftsmanship?
That's a good question. Do you just give me a straight intelligence check?
Sure. Oh, wrong button. What is that? 14.
Kind of. Like, you've definitely seen things like it, but not like a specific maker's mark or anything like that.
I'll note those places that have like interesting techniques and stuff. Maybe I'll try it out.
So does anybody react to our presence, either entering the town or walking through it? Like,
just act cool.
Is it a walled city? Is it an open city?
Oh, it's an open city for sure. There are definitely no walls here, but I mean, who would attack this place?
Is there non-elementals here?
Yeah,
or is
yeah,
oh, okay.
There are quite a few.
Okay.
Like, there are definitely, oddly enough, most of them seem to be tieflings if they're not elemental or genocide of any sort, but, you see a couple of humans. They're not unheard of. Like, nobody's openly staring at you or anything.
Okay.
I just, out of game, Ted was worried. They're like, oh, where's this guardian that is out in the desert? And they're going to be like, oh my God, who are you? What are you doing?
They destroyed the guardian. Our city's doomed now.
Galatian probably is not putting two and two together, so he's just here and looking to look around, and
there is there's definitely like a market bazaar that you guys can like walk through, and if you're looking for taverns, there are a few of them around here. There's there's the Babylon Candle and the Hearth's Home.
I will warn them if they do mention that marketplace, just like there's a lot of beings from the city of Brass and stuff that are pretty devious in their dealings. You be careful if you make any transactions here.
As he's saying that, Prudence is walking into the Babylon Candle place.
Yeah, and that's like, you get the feeling that this is definitely where a lot of the castery types hang out. There are a couple of very obvious warlocks sitting outside the door. Does that dissuade you in the slightest?
Oh no. No, I you know who I was raised by. I don't care.
Yep. And they just kind of nod at you on your way by because they too are tieflings, and they're like, well.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the mail thing, like the GIF with what's the actor's name? Or, from Firefly, where she's like, as you're walking in there.
Do we have to pass through the bazaar to get to the Babylon Candle, or is that
Yes.
So is there anything that is obvious and stands out that might garner attention, in the bazaar?
Oh, there are many glittering things here. Like, there is glasswork the likes of which you maybe actually have seen because you travel with Vince, but if you hadn't, you never would have before. There's one booth that has like these really colorful birds in cages that the man seems to be selling. There's one that has, various pipes and like instruments laid out. Somebody that's got textiles like with these very rich colors that have been like dyed and carefully sewn, that sort of thing.
So, but it's not, it's more like trinkets and that kind of stuff. It's not, arcane gear and that kind of stuff.
No.
Okay.
No, you would have to go into an actual like glass and mortar store for that.
All right.
Is there any little glass things that look like anything I might like that are dragon shaped or anything like that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's like dragon's headed amulets. There's like little dragon statues. There's a claw that's like holding an orb that they've got like hanging from a rope.
Yeah, like the little prism orbs you see at like the mall.
And like at the Ren Fair.
Yeah, for sure. Getting one.
So like you managed to talk this guy out of that thing for like 5 silver. It's a novelty, but
it's an artifact of our adventure.
Yeah.
I'll pay for that.
A souvenir.
Yeah. I also, in addition to putting that cloth, I'm going to have my fan with the little sleeping cat on it. I'm sort of like keeping my face mysterious.
Yeah, about that. Give me a perception check real quick, Vince.
Sure. With my -1. 16. Not bad.
Yeah, the cat isn't on the fan.
The cat isn't on the fan. So I'd be like waving and thinking I'm all excited. I'm like, what the heck? And like fold it up and stow it away. But that's I'll keep that to myself for now.
Okay.
There's me. Cat. Actually, I would look around real quick to see is it running around somewhere?
I mean, with the 16, yeah, absolutely. Like the cat is and you're sure that it's the cat from your fan. Like at least you are dead convinced that it is. It's like perched, trying to like fish a goldfish out of this one merchant's little bowl that he has.
I would be like, hey, psst.
Like the ears go back, it like mock hisses at you, and then a couple of minutes later it like kind of slinks over and just rubs up against your leg and gives you the most baleful look.
I'm like, get back in the fan. I'm like kind of looking around embarrassed, like, does anybody notice this?
Well, I mean, like the people you're traveling with probably do because you flashed that fan often enough that
true.
They recognize the cat.
I'm like looking at them like, Gallison, what's going on?
Where did you get a cat?
It came off the fan. And I'll show them because didn't I lend it to you before?
I think so.
Yeah, because it was really hot. I'm like, the one I said because it was cute. That's it.
How did a cat come off of a fan?
Like when you go to open the fan again, the cat is there again, and it's no longer sitting at your heels.
Did you? It was very bizarre. This place is strange.
Vin, did you become a wizard?
Not that I know of. I mean, is there a way to tell? Did I get the wizard in me in the jungle?
Do you have a stick?
Can I see your rod for a second, Sin? And I'll just sort of flourish it.
You're not the first one to ask me that kind of question.
Oh my god.
Good one. No, I don't feel the magic.
Well, don't we need to find a map? We need a map.
Yes.
And then I see the birds. And I head over towards the birds, distracted. And I'm looking for a bird that looks like Alex and the magpie and the owl.
So there are no owls here, but there are definitely an assortment of songbirds. And the man is like, welcome to my stall. Can I interest you? And I've got many, many birds here. I've got the kinds that are delicious and the kinds that are nice to look at.
You're going to talk to the birds, aren't you?
They free us.
I will. I can't. You know what? I can. I will. I will cast Speak with Animals.
I know. I thought we were just in a city of Aarakocra. I thought you were just going to start talking to them.
I am.
So
Unga knows what's up.
yeah, several of them are just fluttering around these cages, and they're like yapping at each other about like trying to get out of them and not being able to figure out where the way out is. It's a very odd cave that they found themselves in with no door.
I would have just asked them. I start whistling back and forth with them if they've, if they've seen anything. I would have asked them about the giant glass beetle.
So most of them are like too distracted trying to escape their bonds, but there is one that is like just chilling in its cage and is very calm, and it's like a quetzal, right? Like it's got like this very long tail, and this one isn't in a cage per se. It's like perched on a thing and like kind of tethered to it. But he looks at you and like preens a little bit, and he goes, "You mean the very big glass one?"
Yes.
It was a very big bug. I don't think I would have been able to eat that thing. And he's just like, grooming himself.
It was a very big bug. I want to ask the shopkeeper how much for the birds.
And so he starts going through prices, and when he gets to the quetzal, he's like, and this one, I can't let it go for less than 50.
We got that.
50 silver, right?
Oh, gods, no. Do you have any idea how far I had to go to get this?
That seems very expensive.
Does it have any markings?
I mean, yeah, it's like a very colorful bird, but...
How many
You know the
birds?
question.
How many?
You know the question I'm asking.
No, it's not your brother.
How many? How many birds does he have there?
Oh, at least 100. I mean, like, there are a bunch of, like, little tiny finches in, like, a big cage down there that he'll, like, go for, like, 5 silver a piece. They're, like, moderately sized doves and things that are about 5 gold each. Like, most of the other birds are way less expensive than the quetzal.
How many birds can I purchase for 210 gold pieces?
He's just, like, staring at you for a second, and he's like,
Go away.
Are you kidding?
No, and I shake a pouch of gold.
He's like, all of them.
I free them all. I give him the gold.
Oh god, the birds just take off in various different directions. Like, they are out of here. They're not even gonna wait around to say thank you because they're birds. They don't have any use for that. The quetzal, on the other hand, like, it just kind of sidles over onto your shoulder.
What?
You get the impression he's used to being a pet and being taken care of and has no interest in hunting for himself.
What are you doing?
I asked the quetzal its name. I also at this point look very happy and sad at the same time. They didn't like being in the cages.
Uncle Dragon would be proud of you, Unga. He always said that tyrants must not be allowed to oppress the people. You've done a good thing. You freed these creatures.
Word. That was the party treasure you used, right?
No. I had my own gold.
Yeah, we still have 244 gold and 6
Okay.
silver.
All right. Well then, whatever. I don't know where you got all that money from, but
We all had money from before.
Yeah, we're fourth level adventurers, man.
Yeah.
I don't have any now. If it makes you feel any better.
Destiny provides.
all right. I actually do have currency here. Look at that.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to use it to get armor and stuff, but
I'll pay for it.
The quetzal just starts kind of like grooming you, and he tells you that his name is Tweezle.
A new
Tweezle, huh? A Tweezle. I like that name.
I do too. It was given to me by my first girl.
You seen the big beetle?
I did.
What was it doing?
Escaping.
From here?
Yes, not here in the market, but here in the city.
Oh. Then I kind of look askance kind of at the rest of the group.
Yeah,
That's
a cool looking bird. I just looked it up.
You know the beetle, the big glass beetle? It was running away.
Oh. Is there something? Are there captives here in the city? What's going on?
I don't know. Do you know what was it running away from? Tweezle?
Well, at the time, there were at least 4 of the big burly ones. They weren't very fast. They didn't catch it. But it was in the middle of the night and there was no one out.
The big burly ones. So I look around for an earth elemental.
And, they're all clear on the other side of the bazaar. That's where their district is. They're all, hanging out in front of their shops and things.
They're just like earth elemental toughs.
Yeah.
They're just like...
Smoking.
Yeah.
Flipping coins, snapping fingers.
Well, why would they not be smoking? This place is full of fire. There's all kinds of things that you can find to smoke here.
So I kind of nudge.
You're an earth elemental.
I nudge, looking at the earth elementals, like them.
Yes.
Earth elementals are jerks.
Yes, the big burly ones.
Oh, 4 of them.
Yes. My girl was not one of those.
What happened to your girl?
Well, they took her from me.
Who?
I have no idea where she is now.
Who took her?
And he kind of grooms himself for a minute and seems to be calming himself down before he says, the lizard.
Lizard.
I very much hope he wasn't going to eat her.
Oh, I hope so too. We encountered a snake called Birdeater. Oh, I'm sorry. Not you, not like birds, but bird people. Have you seen Aaron Croker, bird people? It wasn't eating birds like you. At least I don't think so.
Oh, the large birds. They come occasionally, not often.
Well, all right. Well, here, and I rummaged through my pack for something. You can hang out here with Sheldon. I put Tweezle on Sheldon's back.
And he does not look comfortable with this at all, and Sheldon is just kind of blowing bubbles. At this point, he's used to you doing things like this.
Sheldon is basically a mobile table.
And he knows it.
Eat your heart out, Tensor.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Tensor's floating crab.
Yeah.
After he's flabbergasted at Unga's, throwing all of that coin to release a whole bunch of birds, and he's kind of done a once over of this bazaar and does not see anything that completely catches his eye or has the symbol that we're looking for. He will head into the
Babylon candle where Prudence went. I think we kind of derailed it.
Right. Okay, so Prudence, you've been inside the Babylon candle for this entire conversation. I'm just gonna touch base with you here again. So you get in there and there's all kinds of occult BS people sitting in this tavern. There are a couple of guys throwing actual knuckle bones on their table and reading them occasionally and talking about what's come up, and you can tell they're definitely gossiping with one another, spying on the neighbors style. The woman behind the bar here definitely looks a lot like Elvira, she's playing it up for the crowd. She's a fire elemental in her own right, but her flames are kind of dark purple.
These are my people.
Yes.
Yes.
You have found the gothest place in town. Congratulations.
Yep. Okay, so Prudence will stride up. Is this a shop or a restaurant, or what sort of place is this?
Oh, it's a tavern. They've got rooms for sleeping in as well.
Okay, I will absolutely go up, and the very first thing I do is get rooms for myself and my brothers.
Okay, so she talks to you a little bit, and you hit it off instantly. So her name is Issa, and she's she only charges you half price for the rooms, so it ends up being 2 gold total.
Okay, cool.
Single rooms, and so she's it's interesting. We don't get a whole lot of tieflings that don't live through here. Where are you from?
I come from the forest, a long ways off. You have probably not heard of it. However, it is rather comforting here. Something I did not expect to find in the desert. You live here?
I do. Most of us do, actually. Like, most of the tenants in this tavern are, like, long-term occupants. There was a boarding house that burned down. That's kind of what happens if you don't build your house out of glass around these parts.
Makes sense. And I, of course, was drawn by the name of your tavern, the Babylon Candle. So interesting. Do you have one?
Oh, I wish. My mother did once upon a time. It was a bit of a family treasure, but we used the last flame of it to get here, actually.
Makes sense. Well, have you anything interesting? I know I have one brother in particular who loves souvenirs. If you had some sort of trinket or bauble or something you'd be willing to part with for a price, of course.
Well, I'll have to see about that. What kind of baubles is he interested in? And she's like moving around behind the desk. She's like, I've got some pretty interesting shaped liquor bottles.
I show her kind of the birthmark on my shoulder and say, he loves anything bearing this mark, but anything else that could be strange or especially unique. And basically I am, hinting at the really creepy stuff on the trinkets list.
Okay.
So like the mummified hands and whatnot.
Funny you should say that, because the very first thing that popped into my mind was a shriveled monkey's paw, and that is exactly what she sets on the table.
Okay. I will put down my other 3 gold that I have on me, besides for the rooms, and offer that for it.
Okay. Yeah, she'll make that deal easily. She's like, that it doesn't do anything, but it does look awfully cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I guess it's not really fair to say it doesn't do anything, because if you hold it like this, and she holds it like sideways, and it like grasps around a glass and just kind of holds it there and just like sits.
Ah, wonderful. Thank you. I'm curious, what would you make of this? And I'm going to pull forth the thing that I rolled on the trinket table, which is an old divination card that bears my likeness.
Okay. She's like, well, it seems like you knew a very skilled painter at one point, or didn't you?
No, I did not.
Well, I mean, diviners will do as diviners will do. Where did you find it?
It was given to me by my mother.
Ah, well, that would explain it. Anyone that would raise someone like you, I'm sure knew.
Knew what?
About you in advance, that kind of thing.
That's entirely possible. What sorts of food do you have here? I'd love to recommend something to my brothers. Also, full disclosure, none of them are like us.
Well, that's all right. I mean, honestly, the menu's pretty normal. And she's like, she'll set that on the table. She's like, the drinks, on the other hand, all have really creepy names. It's just normal liquor in them, but you don't have to tell them that if you don't want to, if you want to have a little fun.
Oh, of course not. We aren't telling them anything like that. and I just kind of wink and probably turn back whenever Galacin comes through.
All right. So, and at this point, you guys are coming into the tavern.
And I'm just having a grand old time.
Like, and so, like, that moment when you walk into the goth club and, like, a couple normies come in and everybody just, like, kind of head snaps to the door and everything's quiet for a second? That happens.
I think that Galacin would be able to, walk in without too much of a hitch.
Oh, yeah, no, because, yeah, for sure. But the other two, and Sheldon, and this really colorful bird that you procured.
Sheldon probably sees somebody he knows in there. Looks all cool.
Dear Brother Vent.
I imagine that, Galacin would, easily notice Issa.
Mm-hmm.
And wouldn't do anything right away, but we would, certainly want to have a conversation at some point.
Give me an insight check.
No, that's a 5.
Oh God. Okay, this is gonna be really fun. All right, so you guys get into the tavern. You've already got rooms that are paid up in here. You get the menus; they're actually fairly normal, but the drinks have things like lamb's blood and like the ooze as their names.
Drinking blood does not sound all that fun, but ooze might be a little interesting. Hope it's not too gloppy.
As long as it doesn't have living products in it, I'm cool.
Are you a vegan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, we can find something for you. Don't worry about that. You know.
Prudence, were you starting to say something when we came in?
So she hands you this monkey's paw and says, "A souvenir from our adventure. Perhaps you'll find it has some sort of destiny." And I just sort of like take his hand and put it right next to his finger.
And I like reach down and take out the little pewter dragon claw with the prism. I'm like, I just bought a grasping hand thing, too.
Oh no.
I've never been more convinced I'm on the right path.
All right. So we have hit 9:55. It's probably a good time to start. Like, you guys are at the tavern,
Sure.
You know, you've got a good place to rest. Like, we can pick up next time.
We can start in the tavern?
Yeah, we can start in the tavern.
You all meet in the tavern.
Aha, we got
Nice.
you, Internet. You thought we weren't going to start in a tavern.
But we did.
Yes.
Well, thank you for running, Megan. Next week, we'll be back with a different crew, and we'll be running Maximum Apocalypse, a one-shot to premiere that game and the Kickstarter that's going on. And then after that, we'll be back to Those Bastards, and we'll be regularly running this game. It just so happens we had planned the one beforehand and scheduled it already. So that'll be a lot of fun. We've got another game we're working on for the channel. We're going to be playing 5e Daubers, which Daubers is a board game made by Daryl T. Jones, the fellow that did a bunch of art for us and the cartography for
Splattered Ink, I think is.
Yep,
coming.
Splattered Ink.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Daubers Quest for the Key is a pretty fun game. So we're gonna be playing that D&D eyes. So we'll have some things going on here, and then I'll be back tomorrow with another guest on the live chat.
2 guests. Our first Nerdarchy Live double guest book.
Yeah, we will have Dungeon Dudes hanging out with us tomorrow. So with that, thanks for everyone for playing. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks again for running, Megan. Awesome as always. Thank you, and until next time, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
Hey, nerdy.